afternoon, South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. I'm Bonnie Booley. I hope your Monday is treating you well.
Absolutely. I'm Bonang Mateba. Welcome to Afternoon Express. We're live right here on SABC3, and it's a brand new week. It's a brand new day. And of course, it is a Motivational Monday right here on the show. So today, we're going to be chatting to some inspirational South Africans who traveled the distance, all for a good cause.
And first up, we speak to Hanli Rolfes, who most of you will know as the feisty Anna van Biljon on Seven de Laan. What a lot of her fans don't know is that she is a foodie connoisseur, so she'll be treating us to a culinary treat in the kitchen.
All right, and somebody we've been looking forward to having in the loft for a very long time. You've probably heard his story on the radio. A man by the name of Ron Rutland, right? Now, he cycled from Cape Town to London. It took him 2 years and arrived just in time for the 2015 Rugby World Cup.
And then we chat to a young man who's navigated the Amazon rivers, traveled the African continent, and now he's planning to pedal boat with his mother across the Atlantic, all under the age of 30. How's that for feeling like an underachiever right
Incredible
now? His name is David
stuff.
Duplessis.
I can't wait for that. And still with the theme of oceans, today we're going to be chatting to a representative from the Sapinda Rainbow Foundation. Now, this foundation aims to, help youth using sailing. Very interesting. We're going to be unpacking that a little bit later, but because we are live, use our official hashtag, Afternoon Express, and follow us at Afternoon Chat. But it's just me and you, right? The Queen Bee's in the loft. Jay Dizzle is in the kitchen right now.
Thank you, my gorgeous girls. And hello, South Africa. I'm Jeannie D, and it certainly is a Motivational Monday. And I'm starting to take the hint now, because every Monday, I think the producers are trying to motivate me to learn how to cook, because I'm in the kitchen again. And this looks fantastic. A little bit later, we're going to be making this prawn curry. I think Bonnie's doing it. And I've got you today, my darling Claire and Stanley. What are we making?
So to finish off the prawn curry, we've got a beautiful coconut sago pudding, but it's all about the melon that we're going to top it with, a stunning in-season ingredient.
I'm such a fan of sago pudding. Okay, this might actually motivate me to learn how to make some delicious pudding. Remember, you can cook along with us. All you need to do is visit our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and there you'll find all that you need to be able to make all of the scrumptious treats that you see here on the show. Also, remember, I think all our recipes are pasted on our Facebook page as well, and trust me, they all work. I've even gone home to try and whip up some of these delicious treats as well. But we actually have Bonnie on the couch with our first guest.
Now we know her as the fiery, feisty Anna van Biljon on Seven de Laan, who lives for her career and loves nothing more than hunting down a good story. But today we meet the woman behind the character, seasoned actress Hanli Rolfes. Welcome to the loft, Hanli.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Awesome. I grew up watching you on television. We all know you. We all know you from Generations, Geramtes in die Kaas, and many others. What has kept you going for so long in the industry? How long have you been at it, actually?
Well, this is literally my 20th year.
It's incredible.
Yeah. What keeps you going? You love what you do, passion for it, and actually when you get the opportunity to keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, like it snowballs.
Yeah.
The more you do, the more you do. So I've been very fortunate and literally blessed in my career.
Yes. I mean, it's such a volatile industry as well.
I must say Sarah Lee from Generations just kicked it off in such an extraordinary way. I mean, in 95, and Mfundi Vundla was clever enough to make her the very sympathetic, alcoholic person who loves children, and I loved that character, so that was extraordinary.
And the character you now play on Seven de Laan, you've played her for quite a while now. How attached are you to her, and what do you love most about her?
I love Anna's sense of reality. She's a realist, and she will hunt down a good story, but never morally and ethically impure. She does, sy's 'n goeie meisie, and she does the right thing, but she's fearless. And that's what I love about her. I think myself personally, I tend to be sometimes a little bit hesitant, but Anna has cured me of that, certainly.
I've been in a couple of soapies over the years, and I know when you play a character for quite a while, after a while, it's the character's life and your life start to almost lend experiences from each other. Do you have any story that's particularly meaningful?
And that's an interesting thing that you say that. I do believe it certainly has parallels and correlates. I mean, I myself have had 49 on-screen children in my career. Wow. And unfortunately, I cannot have children myself. So that's a tremendous sort of balance. And I've got so many kids around me, or, you know, my siblings have children. And this is sort of what I say, my career has enhanced my personal life. But in terms of a character taking over, I think one has to be clear about your boundaries. I, for instance, don't leave set with my character's makeup on. I clean it off and I go home as myself.
As yourself,
Yes, it's important important to keep that clear.
Yeah, and I mean, many actors have different rituals that help them do
Yes.
that. Yeah. Well, today we're chatting to a couple of people who are adventurers for charity. You yourself have had your own adventures in Spain.
Yes.
Please tell us
but
about
it's
it.
nothing compared to what
no.
these guys do.
Of course.
I walked the Camino de Santiago twice to Finisterre. It's about 900 k's or so.
900 k's?
Yeah. And
And how long did it take you?
34 days the first time and 31 the second time.
Alone?
Yes. The infrastructure is tremendous. I would recommend that to literally anybody. The infrastructure is tremendous. You walk the route, you can sleep after 7 k's or after 20 k's or after 30 k's, depending, and you have your own rhythm. If you don't feel like walking much that
Yeah.
day, you don't.
I mean, I can
So-
imagine all that solitude brings quite a different spiritual awareness.
It does. It does. I think you probably know as well, those of us in the performing arts have sometimes quite a high internal frequency. And I find it
we're
difficult.
always
A lot of
like-
people can
yeah.
sit down and meditate quietly, but I find it in the physical, and to walk and go through a little bit of suffering. And eventually when you feel strong, and I'm not fit by any means of stretch of the
yeah?
imagination, but you do become strong. And then after that comes an emotional phase and definitely a spiritual phase.
Yeah.
It changed my life. It literally saved my
Really?
life. Yes.
Wow, what did you
Absolutely.
learn that still stands out for you?
Sure. I was in such a bad space. It was, the first time I went was 2009. It was just, my divorce was all over the front pages of the newspaper, and it was a crazy time for me, something I never envisioned in my life would happen.
can you
And
imagine?
I just had this ticket booked already for a year before, and the date was coming up, and I just went, I'm going to get on
gonna
this
do it.
plane, and I'm
Yes.
going to go. And I had my 6.5 kilograms on my back, and I went to and I arrived in Saint-Jean-de-Pied-de-Port and started the walk. And 9 days later, I think I sort of, something just made me realize people are talking to me like I'm a normal person and with value. Nobody knew who the heck I was. But I felt like I suddenly had value again as a human being. And talking to other pilgrims, people who go through different things and amazing things. And it literally healed my spirit. I came back to South Africa and I went, I can face anything now because
That's
my heart is
amazing.
clean and pure. And it was tremendous.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out for me when I was researching about you is that you had Frank Opperman, an
Yes.
actor, gave you a word of advice, and he said, be kind. And I mean, for you to mention that must have really had an impact on you.
Yeah, he's an amazing man. I think I was 28, and he was extremely famous. Of course, he still is. And everywhere I walked with him, and I was Sarah Lee by then, which was
Yes.
also a little bit overwhelming as such a young actress. And he never said to me, be kind. He always just showed it. If a fan would come to him and they would be, no matter how much they asked or what they asked, he would always be
always
kind. He never turn
kind.
away and go like, oh. People often do that. They're like, no, nice to see you. And then they go like, oh. And that is such a terrible thing to do because 10 other people see you doing that and they go, oh no, actually, that's a horrible person.
Sure.
And he really taught me, and I must say, I think, even when you're in a bad way and a fan comes up to you in a shopping mall and you have no makeup or a broken nose or whatever, and you're kind to them, people, it's important because
Yeah,
without them, we have no career to speak of.
Wow. That's
without the
incredible.
audience.
Yeah. You're not going away. You have a treat for us in the kitchen, so we're going to let you loose.
Thank you.
Awesome. After the break, Hanli is going to cook us a coconut prawn curry, and we chat to Ron Rutland, the man who cycled from Cape Town to London in time for the Rugby World Cup. We'll be right back.
Groundbreaking treatment for acne for adults.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Express Loft. You're live on SABC3 with us. Now, Hanli says that if she wasn't an actress, she actually would have been a chef. So we've given her free reign in the loft kitchen.
How do you know that?
I have my ways. A little birdie told me.
It
So,
seems so.
yeah. So you're making a curry.
Yes. I haven't cooked, I didn't cook curry until I was about 35. I was too scared.
Yeah,
Because I have
everyone's
friends who do
intimidated
it
by curry.
so well, yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I am too.
And you're a good cook as well.
Yeah, I am.
Come
Yeah.
on, as well,
I
listen to
think
me.
so.
I must say, I love being in the kitchen and I love cooking. It comes from my mom. So, yes, a prawn curry. Shall we
Yes,
have a go at it?
let's go, yeah.
Okay, so you've got...
I'm going to pay close attention because I'm going to make this myself at home.
Okay, you might be able to teach me something actually. So you've got 3 tablespoons of oil, I love using macadamia oil, but any kind of oil is good. And then you've got your half a teaspoon of mustard seeds. And you just twirl them around in the pan at a nice high heat. It would be great if they pop.
Do they release a lot of flavour when they pop?
Yes.
I know they
a
always
little bit,
pop
and
out
it's
of the
fun.
pan
It's,
like
I like a
popcorn.
little bit of drama in
your
the
cooking.
kitchen, like in Seven de Laan. Look how they're popping. They're going to go there.
I see that. They're so cute.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn down the heat a little bit.
Okay.
For the next step. There we go. Ooh.
Wow,
Fantastic.
yeah, they're going
See,
wild.
there they're popping.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then we're going to add curry leaves, 6 curry leaves, and you just crush them up a little bit and let for the flavour to release, obviously. Stir that around a bit.
I've actually heard from a lot of
burn.
chefs that
Yes.
cooking the spices first is actually a great step for curry.
Yes, it releases the flavour. That's certainly what it does. So there we go, the curry leaves, and then we're going to add some garlic.
Some garlic.
Two, in Afrikaans, you can call them a twinkie, a little toe of garlic.
Okay.
And then your 2.5 centimetres of crushed ginger, sliced and crushed, and then you just twirl it around. This usually I cook for about 5 minutes to just get it nice and flavourful. And then we're going to add our onions.
Yeah. Our mustard seeds have popped all over the kitchen.
Yes,
so
I'm
funny.
sorry.
No worries.
We fried off the onions a little bit beforehand to save some time. So you fry and let that go for about 5 minutes or so, just to release flavour.
So can we expect a cookbook from you soon?
No, I'm in a couple of cookbooks. I don't think I'm in the Seven de Laan cookbook yet. They should bring out another one, don't you think?
I mean, do you find it quite therapeutic to come home after a long day and cook a meal?
I love
too.
cooking. Is it?
Yeah,
It relaxes me. It's almost
Definitely.
like a meditation.
Yeah, and cooking is love. So I love cooking for people I care about. Yeah. Food is love, rather.
That's true. That's true. And only if you cook it with love does it taste nice.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so here we go. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric.
Okay.
1/4 teaspoon of ground coriander. And then, of course, with the chili, I like to use fresh chili. But you can also use chili powder.
Chili
and then
powder.
1/4 teaspoon or a 1/2 teaspoon or a full teaspoon, depending on how brave you are. So, and then you cook that out. You can immediately smell the
Flavors,
coriander.
yes.
Maybe I'm telling a pro how to cook curry.
No, I wouldn't say pro, but, you know, I've attempted a few dishes and I think I've done well.
Okay.
Prawns are definitely my favourite. You can't keep me away from a bowl of prawns.
Really?
Yeah.
Seafood.
So this is going to be a great curry.
Okay, so once that's cooked off, we're going to add our coconut cream, 200 millilitres of veg stock. You can also do coconut milk and coconut cream, depending on whether you want a little bit more clear liquid or a little bit more creamy liquid.
Okay.
And then it's optional. You don't always have to add a tomato. Whoopsie. This is really dramatic. Cook that, and then you add, I've got onion and tomato mix, but onion is also, just tomato is good. About 2 tomatoes for every 350 grams of prawn.
Okay.
But as I said, that the tomato is optional. Okay,
So these are just blanched beforehand?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
wonderful.
So that cooks up. And this usually goes for about 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
I don't want to...
Yeah.
You can stand here and
because
chat
we're cooking for
15 minutes.
television. We have an already prepared one. I don't know if you want to
But
take a look at that while we carry on cooking. That's how it should look.
Should we quickly add the prawns?
Yeah, we can quickly add the prawns.
That's just fresh, clean, blanc prawn.
Of course.
Pour it in there.
And of course, all the details are on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. But for now, let's head over to the couch with Jeannie, who's with Ron Rutland.
Thanks, Fanny. It smells absolutely delicious. Now, 2 years ago, a man from Cape Town dropped everything, bought a bike, and decided to go for a ride. But where most people would go for a little workout on the bike, he decided to cycle to London for the next 28 months and 43,000 kilometers. He made his way through every single country in Africa, into Europe, and ended up in the UK just in time for the 2015 Rugby World Cup, only to see the Springboks receive a little rugby lesson from the Japanese. Joining us on the couch is the sensational Ron Rutland.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Wow, wow, wow. Let's discuss, how did you start Fat Kid on a Bike? And why is it called Fat Kid on a Bike? You're not fat.
Well, Judy, thank you very much. You don't have to be polite. But when I left Cape Town Stadium in June 2013, circumstance, I got to a point where I was actually literally the fattest of my life, and through various injuries and things, I didn't do a lot of exercise before I left.
Yeah.
And I thought about you could have been Ron Rutland's African cycle trip, and
Yeah.
I was actually in India in December 2012 when I told so I made the decision to do it. And I had a pre-arranged trip there, and I was down in Goa with a friend of mine, and he was the first person that I told about the trip. And over a few beers, the idea of fat kid on a bike came about. So that sort of gave the journey, I guess, a name. But for me, it's just my whole life I've dreamt about living a big adventure, and I've read stories like Davey and other people that have gone and lived their dreams, and you start realizing, often the only difference between them and I is that they made the decision to do it.
Exactly.
And there's always reasons not to do it.
You left your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What was your profession?
Well, I was working in event management down in Cape Town.
Yeah.
I was working for a company. Well, we used to run an event called the Cape Town 10. So
Okay.
I've had a corporate career. I used to work in banks for my sins. But the last 5 years before I left, I've involved in the rugby scene.
And what was your longest journey on a bicycle before the decision to do Fat Kid on a bike?
Before I moved back to South Africa from Hong Kong, sort of 5 or 6 years ago, most of my cycling was in London, where I used to cycle from work, from my house to my office. So it was probably 10 Ks a day. And then I moved back to South Africa, and I thought I was going to come back and play a lot of golf. But everyone in Cape Town was into sort of mountain biking and trail running. And so I kind of got into that, despite my sort of, not built for it, I guess. And the allure of the Cape Epic, I heard about this fantastic race, and I kind of got sucked into it. And that's when I fell in love with cycling. And, all these stories I'd read about people cycling around the world, and just the simplicity, the beautiful simplicity of a bicycle.
Amazing.
I just thought, it's
What
time.
preparation did you need?
Well, in terms of, a trip of 2.5 years, you can never get trained for it specifically to get fit.
Like,
and
what
that
do you
sort of
even
thing.
pack for 2 years?
It's a typical girl's question. Eh? No, well, that's what you don't pack. I mean, I literally sold every single thing in the world I owned. What I couldn't sell, I gave away. And just, my bicycle hasn't got the pannier bags there, but you have sort of 2 bags that fit either side of both wheels.
Yeah.
You put your tent across the back, and you have sort of a few spare parts, a basic first aid kit, a couple of T-shirts, a camping stove and things like that. And it really is all you need. And, I've had the best 2.5 years of my life, and my whole bike, when it was completely packed, probably weighed 40 kilos.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how little you need and to survive, not survive, but thrive.
Like, did you have a plan? I mean, you just got on your bike and literally just cycled?
Well, I took the map of Africa, and at one stage, I'll actually show you here.
You need to have this framed.
Yeah, it's on its last leg, so this has been with me through, through the entire Africa.
So you packed your little map. That obviously looked a lot newer than this.
This did. So I sat down this was probably my 3rd iteration, but I sat down and I couldn't decide which part of Africa to do, I thought about sort of doing a traditional Cape to Cairo up the east, and a guy just broke the record, the guys broke the record yesterday in sort of 35 days or something ridiculous, but you could do it 4 to 6 months fairly comfortably. And I thought about doing something a bit more adventurous and maybe cycling the Nile. But I just kept on seeing different parts of Africa, and eventually I said, you know what, I want to try and, I'm going to do one big trip in my life, or a big trip, and let's try and do the whole thing. So I sat and I plotted what I think is the shortest route that goes through every single country in Africa. And that got me to Cairo, and I jumped on a full...
But I mean, Sudan, Somalia, you traveled through some dangerous places.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there are obviously areas where there are problems, and you can't stick your head in the sand. But I think the perception about things is so different. If you completely get your news on the world through CNN or things like that, Africa can be a pretty depressing place. But if there's one message, obviously I was optimistic and a positive person, and I sort of believe in the goodness of people.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I went through. I had a few hair-raising moments, but ultimately it's the most humbling thing in the world when the poorest people on the planet, or the way that we define in the West, we define wealth, when the poorest human beings on the planet, offer this white guy who sort of stumbled into their community or their village and run out of water, and with zero expectation of anything in return, share water and food and shelter. For me, that's the overriding sort of thing that I took out of Africa.
Then you went Paris to Brighton in aid of a charity. What was it like finally arriving there and going to that Brighton game?
Yeah, so for me, it was important. Ultimately, it is a selfish journey, I guess, at the end of the day. But for me, it was important to sort of leave some sort of tangible legacy. And I love the work that the Laureus Sport for Good Foundation do. And I often judge an organisation by the people involved, and it's incredible people. So we came up with the concept of doing a big ride, my final few days from Paris to Brighton. So we had about 55, 60 people. 3 of the Laureus ambassadors, Morna Duplessis, Dan Nicol and Hugo Porter joined me, and sort of 55 other people.
And then I joined you in Birmingham.
You did join me in Birmingham.
The drive was long enough for me.
So we cycled for 2 days to Brighton, and then, as you say, got there the day before. I was very lucky to meet Jean de Villiers. I gave him a couple of letters of support that I had. And then witness history, I guess is the best way of putting it. You know, if you take off your green and gold glasses, you know, I'm a real sports and rugby fan, and at the end, you know, you look at that game and you just couldn't have been happier for the Japanese, and ultimately it was sort of kick up the proverbial that the Springboks needed to sort of kick our tournament into gear. So it wasn't as disastrous as it could have been. And just that evening, I mean, I've never been prouder to be a South African supporter. I mean, that night, you know, we could have been glum and bleak and everything, but every restaurant or pub you were in, if Japanese fans walked in, every single South African would stand up and applaud them. We got off the train, the South Africans ran ahead of the Japanese, gave them a guard of honour, and it made you really, really proud to be a South African, despite the rugby results.
Amazing. We're going to be chatting to you a little bit later because I want to find out what's next for Ron Rutland. But I also have to tell you that you are so loved and so well supported. You are such a fantastic ambassador for South Africa. And you're also a founding member for a rugby team called the Jam Boys. And they said that I had to give you the biggest kiss on your head from them because they love you so, so much. We're going to be chatting to you a little bit later. After the break, we chat to a conservationist and adventurer, Davy Duplessis, about his upcoming adventure where he plans to pedal a boat across the Atlantic Ocean. And he's just absolutely amazing and inspiring as well. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
Whether it's your first apartment in the city, a trendy suburban townhouse, or that dream family home on a golf estate, there's a home for everyone on private property.
Welcome back. You're live on SABC3. This is Afternoon Express. And today's Motivational Monday. In case you just tuned in. And today we're talking to inspiring South Africans who've traveled the distance all for a good cause. And my next guest, he's a committed environmentalist, activist, inspirational speaker, author, global explorer, and he's also a proud vegan. He has cycled across Africa, navigated the length of the Amazon, and now he plans to pedal boat across the Atlantic Ocean with his mum, and all of this before the age of 30. Imagine that. Joining us on the couch is Davy Duplessis. Welcome to The Loft.
Yes,
I think before we get into all these incredible achievements, I mean, where did your love for, you know, conservation and adventure begin?
I'll be honest with you, it's not a happy story, but when I cycled through Africa, I was optimistic about the Africa I was going to see. I thought I was going to see all the wildlife, you know, the heart of Africa, and it's all been really substituted for agricultural land and developments. And I got very disheartened. I thought, well, where can I go and see a part of this world that's largely untouched by humans? Because I love nature. And I thought, well, let me go to the Amazon. I went to the Amazon, and it disappointed me. I'm going to the Amazon, I'm going to the Atlantic Ocean, and my hope is that I can start to see a bit of this world that hasn't been touched by humans. So it's not driven from a positive message. It's more out of desperation. I wish I never had to do this. I wish we actually took care for this environment. We looked after each other and after animals, but we don't.
That's not what it is. But let's go back to your first adventure. I mean, you were the first person to cycle from Cairo to Durban. How old were you when you did that? And, you know, what sparked off that idea?
I wasn't the first person. I did it with a friend, Ricky. I actually, I hit this point in my life where I think I was 21.
Yeah.
21, I became vegan. I stopped drinking. I started to realize that what's valuable in this life is the service you can do for others and animals. And I kind of took that. You ever heard that quote from Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world?
Yes.
So I took that to heart. So I started to live this example. But I felt that it wasn't enough. And I needed a platform. I wanted something that could kind of traject the message. And I was sitting at a breakfast, and this one guy, Ricky, I didn't even know him. Actually, it was a sister. They said, you know, my brother's thinking of cycling Africa. I'm like,
sure.
My car just got stolen, so I had this bit of insurance money. I'm like, well, let me just buy a bicycle. And I jumped on board there. We worked with Habitat for Humanity, and we got to see a lot of the housing issues within Africa. But I just realized after that Africa trip, I mean, when we did that, at the end of it took us 4 months. And we managed to get this house built for this family in Tanzania.
Yeah.
And at 21, I was like, wow, you know, it's the first time I've actually done something for someone else.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it provided this platform where I realized that I could use these adventures. I'm not particularly adventurous, but I could use these adventures as a hook to pull through a message that's a lot more important than just a guy cycling or pedaling or rowing.
And I mean, cycling, you know, Durban and Cairo, then paddling the Amazon River. What have you learned from both these adventures and doing that, besides, you know, doing something for somebody else? What have you done for yourself? How has it helped you as a human being, Davey?
To be honest, you know, a lot of the changes I went through before adventure. And even in the Amazon, you didn't mention it, but there I was attacked during the... I got shot 4 times.
By the bandits in the Amazon forest,
And even there, you know, people think when you go through these traumatic experiences, that's when you have all this change. I had this change a long time before. I just didn't have the platform. And I think all those adventures really did is it just provided an opportunity to test who I was. You know, I always thought I could be a forgiving person. I always thought I could be a kind person. I always thought that I could go through tremendous challenges and somehow find a positive spin. But it's easy to say that when everything's going good in your life.
Exactly.
So the adventure provided this experience where I could test the inside me against the external circumstances and see if I measured up.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, you made headlines all over the country. Well, you almost lost your life talking about, you know, you were wounded by the bandits in the Amazon forest. How was that experience? What happened?
It wasn't fun, I'll be honest. You know, one thing I do pull from that, I mean, I begged for my life.
Sure.
And I begged this guy when he was coming towards me in the kayak, and I begged him in Spanish. I said, por favor, because I couldn't understand what had I done. And you know, one of the things I pull from that is I don't think you realize what a privilege it is to be alive until you've had to beg for your own life. And I think that's probably the most...
But where did these guys come from? Were you just walking through the Amazon forest? You know, were you in a place you weren't supposed to be? What exactly happened?
Well, I don't think it was territorial. I mean, I'll give you a brief summary of the story. So I was paddling. I'd been in the jungle for 2 months. I was paddling down the river. Saw these 2 guys come past me. I didn't think much of it at the time because I thought they were fishermen or something. They came past me, disappeared behind a bend of the river. And then like 10 minutes later, I just feel this impact hits me in the back. I thought it was a bird initially, but it hit my spine. It put me into partial paralysis. It knocked me into the river. I started to drown. I then managed to get movement from the waist up. I kicked to the surface, got to the surface, now thinking, what the hell is going on? Second impact hit me here. And it's like someone taking a cricket bat and hitting you, but you don't hear a bang. I didn't see anyone, so I don't know I'd been shot at the time. I then thought I was being attacked by some like Amazon river monster.
Yeah.
Then I swam to the riverbank. I got shot a 3rd time this side. Then I eventually begged for my life when I realized that I'd been shot. I remember sitting in a big pool of blood because one of the shots had punctured this carotid artery. I then ran away from these guys and I found other guys in the jungle who eventually, over 24 hours, transported me through 5 different communities until I eventually got to hospital. When I got to hospital, over 24 hours after being shot, they didn't want to help me because they wanted money. Then it's a bit of irony in the story, but the South African brewery stepped in because I called my mom. I got to the hospital and I said, well, I didn't call my mom. I actually sent her a message. It was the most surreal thing. Imagine, I don't know if you have children.
No, I don't.
Imagine getting this message as a mom. So I sat there with the phone and I hadn't spoken to her mom in about 2 weeks. And I just said, Mom, I've been shot, and I put a sad face. But I'm like, this is no joke. So eventually I just said, Mom, please call me. My mom called me. I said, Mom, I'm in the middle of the jungle, I've been shot. Obviously, I think my mom can be a bit dramatic at times, so I didn't want to overestimate the situation. I'm like, no, I'm okay, I just need a bit of help. She went on this networking spree on Facebook, and like an hour later, 2 guys walked in.
Found you.
They said, yeah, we're here to help, but you know, the irony is that, as I mentioned, I don't drink, I don't support alcohol. I think society would be a lot better without alcohol and or drugs. But the 2 guys who walked in, they're like, David, we've heard what has happened, we saw this Facebook message, we work for the South African breweries.
That's incredible, David.
And then they offered to pay for me. Then the doctors put me in for 1 X-ray. They took me out. They said, we've picked up shots lying close to his vital organs. We can't help him. We need to get him to a hospital in Lima, which is the capital. In order to get there from the jungle, you have to fly over the Peruvian Andes. Eventually, I got there. And what had happened, I'd been shot 4 times with a shotgun. I had a punctured carotid artery, punctured lung, punctured windpipe, and a punctured heart.
Yeah.
The shot that went through the heart is still in my heart. They left it there. Because to take it out requires open heart surgery, and it took 2 days to get to a proper hospital. So like, let's just leave it.
But I mean, Davey, you're sitting here, and we're going to talk a little bit later about your mom, because you're actually taking her on your next adventure, paddling across the Atlantic Ocean. That is such a moving story. And to have you here alive, you know, to tell it and still want to go out there and change the world through your adventures is really, really inspiring. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to be chatting to Davey Duplessis a little bit later. If you do have any questions for him, make sure that you tweet us at Afternoon Chat. Use our official hashtag, Afternoon Express. It's all about inspiring you through inspirational South Africans this Monday. Back to Jeannie in the kitchen.
Thank you, Bonang. Wow, today is possibly one of my favorite shows that I think we've ever done. Ron Rutland, Davey Duplessis, just the most incredible men. But we also have sago pudding. Yes. And you're going to teach me how to make it, because I think these men need and deserve some pudding.
We do need a little bit of pudding.
So, how do we get started?
So, heat on. Let's just get that going. So we've got some sago over here, which we're just going to soak. Ideally, you want to get it soaking for about half an hour, but, you know, we're going to speed things up a little here. So a nice full can of coconut milk there.
Love.
Just give it a little bit of a mix. And then, like I said, ideally soak it. Just going to help sort of hydrate the sago a little bit.
Okay.
And reduce the cooking temperature, or cooking time, sorry. And then don't make a mess like me. And then it goes into the pot. And you're going to...
You one hot little mess in the kitchen sometimes, Kate.
I know. It is Monday after all. Please forgive me. Okay, so that's going to slowly cook down. And what you're looking for, so sago is that sort of white ball. When it actually starts getting translucent and there's just a tiny little white ball in the middle, you're almost there. It mustn't be like crunchy anymore, nice and soft.
Does
and
sago
chewy.
get al dente? Is that...
No, I go for like a chewy version. Like I don't like to like crunch on it. So nice and chewy and yummy and comforting, and we're winning. So also needing a little bit of sweetness in our life, so some yummy maple syrup, which is always flavor of the month after all.
Exactly.
So let's go for that. So probably about, let's go 3 tablespoons. Nice and sweet.
This is so simple. And sago, you buy a little packet of sago as well.
Absolutely. Do you want to know fact of the day?
Yeah.
So fact of the day is, here we go. Do you know what sago is?
Is it like a couscous? Is it a grain?
No, so it's actually a starch extracted from like the center pithy part of some tropical palm trees. Eh?
Oh my word, now I need a tropical holiday after doing this.
Okay, so while this is cooking, if it starts getting a little bit too thick, all we're going to do is add a little bit of water, and that's going to thin that down. It's going to cook, there's me making a mess again. It's going to cook for probably about 15 minutes, and you want to keep stirring it, otherwise it's going to stick on the bottom.
Okay.
But
in the meantime,
the whole reason I'm making this dish is because we have beautiful melon in season.
Summer melons.
Delicious melon. So watermelons, sweet melons, exotic melons, any kind of melon is in season at the moment, and it's delicious. So you are going to take that little scoop over there and make perfect little balls. Obviously, you don't have to do that. You can kind of slice it up, you can chop it up, do whatever you want, but it kind of looks really cool.
Okay.
So you just kind of scoop in, scoop and twist. Yeah.
Okay, let me make a bit
No,
of
there we
ball
go,
for you. There you go. And do I put them in here?
Yes. You
Okay.
can just pop it out, and then that's going to go on top of our sago pudding. So while this is going to take a little bit of time to cook, and then later we're going to kind of plate it all up.
Oh, gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to be making all of these cute little melon balls. After the break, we chat to a representative from the Sapinda Rainbow Foundation who use sailing to teach leadership skills to underprivileged youngsters. We'll be right back.
Express yourself.
Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
I want in on that yacht, baby. Okay, looks like we finished with our sago pudding.
Okay, so the sago has cooked down beautifully, so we're just going to...
It's resembling porridge now.
Yeah, and, you know that's delicious and sweet and comforting. Just putting it into a jug, so it's going to make our lives easier to pour it out into whatever mold, container, dish you would like.
Yes.
Kind of just scoop those out.
Very coconutty. That is fantastic.
It's literally all coconut.
Coconut is really such a magnificent fruit.
It's actually, do you know what? It's actually a tree nut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm nuts about coconut.
Wait, it's not technically
a nut. It's a cocoa nut.
No, but it's actually not technically a nut. It's actually called a jelly nut. It's like a type of, it's a technical term. I don't know the real technical term
News
about
of the world
it,
today,
like,
Claire.
She
knows everything.
Just all about facts today. So then that's going to go into the fridge and chill down nicely. You want nice cold sago pudding. You can eat it hot, but for this one, for the sake of the sweet, nice cold melon, we want to make it
summer
cold.
flavors.
So these have chilled down nicely. Your scooped balls of melon are just so fabulous. And you're just going to add that to the top here. So you can add whatever toppings you like. I just think coconut and sago and melon are just fabulous, fabulous pairs. They just, you know,
Yeah,
marriage,
they go
match made
so
in
well
heaven.
together. It's so fresh, very light.
Absolutely. So that looks about
And then do you want this as well?
Toasted coconut to complement our coconut milk in there.
My new addiction, trust me. Go get some.
They're
It's
amazing.
delicious. Tweet me and let me know how you feel about it, but it is amazing.
I know, it's one of those things that you actually have to only put out when we go live from the ad break. Otherwise, someone's going to eat it all.
I know, I'm addicted. It's absolutely delicious.
Okay, so a little bit more maple syrup, a little bit of sweetness. You can add as much or as little as you like, for depending on how sweet you like it. And then, because it's like kind of Asian inspired, you know, all the coconuts and whatnot, some sesame seeds. You can toast these up or just add them on top. It adds a little bit of, you know, sort of nuttiness to it.
Can I throw some black sesame on as well? For some variety, just some colour.
And how cool does that look?
That looks fabulous.
And you get a teaspoon and just kind of dig in. That's it, simple.
Brilliant, thank you so much. I think our guests today are absolutely going to love this. After the break, we're back with our inspiring guests to learn more about their future projects. We will be right back. And of course, remember, we're live. So call us, email us, Facebook us. We'll be right back after this.
Give kids the gift of hearing this Christmas. Are you with us?
The top 2 leaves of the finest Ceylon teas. Because nobody makes better tea than you and Five Roses.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're live on SABC3. It is Motivational Monday. Some incredible South Africans in the lot with us today. South Africans who've travelled the distance for a good cause. Now, earlier on, we did start the conversation with David du Plessis, very inspirational, about his adventure to paddle across the Atlantic Ocean, and he's taking his mom. So why exactly are you taking mom? When is it happening? And tell me about the boat that you're going to use.
Well, to take my mom is not a choice. I think she saw how much trouble I got on the Amazon. She's like,
she's going to make
keep
sure
an eye
she's
on
not
that
going to
kid.
get shot again.
No, to be honest, I planned to do this adventure solo, and my mom called me a couple months ago, and she just turned 50, and she said she hadn't felt like she's done something worthy when she had to reflect on her life, and this could potentially be it.
Beautiful.
And I, you know, to be honest, I said, yeah, come on board, because I didn't think she was serious, and then now she's fully committed. But you know, she's a 50-year-old lady. She's very glamorous.
Which is young.
But unfortunately, most people, they think by the time you're at 50, it's like the plateau of your life. You know, my mom can communicate to an audience that I can't. You know, people just look at me and young, we don't have
You
responsibilities.
say she's very glamorous.
She'd probably get along with you
With
quite
Jean.
routinely. Probably wear the same clothes too.
That's so awesome. So tell us about the boat that you're going to use, that you and mum are going to paddle with.
So the boat was built in Knysna. It was designed in the States. It's a pedal boat, so it's powered by like similar to a bicycle system.
Wow.
So it moves very slowly, and but it's one of a kind. I think there's only 2 other pedal boats that have actually crossed an ocean. But I mean, the adventure. I don't do the adventure for adventure's sake. It's all dedicated towards mass extinction. I mean, we're in a period now known as the 6th mass extinction, where we are literally wiping off species daily.
Oh, it's intense. Ron, what's your plan? What's next for Ron Rutland?
I think I'm in a slightly different position. I feel like I haven't even finished my current adventure. You know? I got to London, and it's been, so ever since arriving in Brighton, it's been going from a period of 2 years of a lot of solitude and being on my own to being non-stop, having people and just so much. And it's amazing. I mean, it's lucky to have, you know, to catch up with a lot of people in that, but it can be very draining as well. So I need a bit of time to reflect on the last 2.5 years of my life. I certainly haven't, you know, you have a lot of time out there to think, and you come up with a lot of plans and dreams and ideas. And you know, I've got the next Rugby World Cup's in Tokyo, and there's a lot of Asia I haven't cycled, so who knows?
I'm dying to go to
Ladies,
Tokyo.
any adventures you've planned?
I'm just going to do my law.
Well, your life sounds like an adventure.
Yeah. But with that said, then when is the next, World Yacht Race?
So the race ends in 2016 August. We'll probably do the next recruitment by then September.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of time to get
There's
in there.
plenty of time.
All right, fantastic.
Maybe we'll all get onto a yacht and end up in Tokyo for the next World Cup.
Yes. Any more adventures for you, Hanli? Or what's planned for 2016?
Seven Laan, definitely Seven Laan, which is amazing. I love working there. And work. I feel so blessed at the moment. I'm so busy. I didn't know. A friend of mine said a while ago, Hanli, we've worked so hard so that we can work so hard.
This has been my favorite show. You've all inspired all of us, I think. It's been absolutely incredible.
My next adventure, I think, might be your melon
Do
balls
it.
with it.
Get in there.
Do it. You won't regret it.
Now make sure you join us again tomorrow for Afternoon Express and tune in early because during the first 15 minutes of the show, we chat to musician and activist Nomsa Mazwai. And in the kitchen, we're making coconut crumbled prawns with sriracha mayonnaise.
Sounds delicious. So make sure you're back 4 p.m. right here on SABC 3 tomorrow. From all of us here, it's good evening and happy eating. Mwah.
Ciao.
Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, we're joined by media personality Penny Lepiane to discuss her role in community development, and we catch up with musician and activist Nomsa Mazwai.
Another feel-good production.
Hi, YouTubers. Thank you so much for watching the show. Be sure to not miss another episode by clicking subscribe right over there. And we'll see you every day. Afternoon Express. Enjoy.